Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do the beautiful stitches for the iris stitch. And this is worked in multiples of 4 plus 3. So I'm going to get my slip knot on my hook, and we're going to get started right away. It's just a gorgeous stitch, and it's just a repeat of row 2. I think for my sample here, I'll do 19 stitches, which is a combination of 4 again, which is 4 times 4 is 16, and then it's 3 makes it 19. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19. Okay, so I have 19 chain stitches. So what we're going to do is in the 5th chain from the hook, so we're going to count 1 2 3 4 5. We're going to work 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, go into that, and it's all in the same stitch. Yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 loops. That's a double crochet. So that's 1 double crochet done. Yarn over, put our hook in, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, go through 2 loops and 2 loops. That's 2 double crochet. Now we're going to chain 1, yarn over. We're going to do another double crochet, all in the same stitch yet. There's 1 and 2. So we have our first, it's really a 2 double crochet, kind of a V-stitch cluster. That's what we've just worked, okay? That's what that looks like. And then these stitches that we've skipped really kind of count as like a, we've skipped 4, so it kind of counts as like a double crochet and a chain 1 kind of. But anyways, that's what that looks like now. So what we're going to do, and this is the repeating pattern across the row, is we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th chain, we're going to work our 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. It's what we just worked. It's going to be repeated all the way across now, every 4th stitch. So in the same stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochet. There's 1, 2, a chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet. And I'm just using a medium weight Care & Simply Soft today with, actually I grabbed a size I hook today. But this is a nice stitch to be worked in all sorts. You could use it for thread yarn, chunky yarn, 1, 3, 4. All sorts of types of yarn. This would be a beautiful stitch for it. It would be nice for blankets, placemats, shawls, scarves, you name it. And it can be worked the length way in a scarf, going sideways in a scarf. I mean, all types of things. It would be nice for variegated yarn, or worked in colors the way that I've shown you, where I switched color every single row. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is going to be my last double V-stitch cluster, kind of. This is what's oftentimes is called in other patterns, because you're working 2 double crochet and then a chain 1 and 2 double crochet. So it's 2 double crochet V-stitch cluster. Okay, and then we're down to 2 chains left, so we're going to skip 1 and then just finish with a double crochet in that last stitch, because then that makes it really nice and symmetrical with the beginning part of this row. I'll take out my hook. So row 1 is complete, and so you can see the chain 1 stitches here. I'll pull them apart a little bit so you can see them a little bit more. There we go. Now it made it kind of wonky because I pulled on it, but there you go. There's 1. And it might be a little bit more difficult to see against the background, so I'm going to hold it up for you. You see that? That's row 1. I'm going to grab just a little bit more yarn here. If I'm changing colors, I change it on the end. If I use, I don't know, maybe 3 colors and I change it every row, I would probably just carry my yarn up the side. I have some other patterns that I've carried the yarn up the side, and it works really nice with that. If I do a blanket pattern or something where I carry the yarn up the side, I'm going to I'll show you on that pattern how I do it, but I haven't done it here yet for this, but I will change color in a couple rows here. So anyway, so now I've turned my work, and I'm going to chain 3. You could 2, 3. You could chain 3 before you turn your work, after, it doesn't really matter. I like to do it in my brain here. I do it after I turn, because if I'm going to change yarn color, I want to change it on that first stitch, not after you've chained 3 and then turn. I wouldn't change it right up here. I would change it down here in those stitches here. So like I said again, I'll show you here. Maybe the next row I'll show you. So I'm going to skip the first 2 double crochet. All of my stitches now for this next row and every row after are going to be worked in that chain 1 space. So we're going to repeat what we've just done and done our 2 double crochets. And this is in every single chain 1 space across. And then chain 1 and then our 2 double crochets. So this is the repeating pattern all the way through. There's 1. Now we're going to skip 4 double crochet and go all the way over to our chain 1 space, and we're going to work our 2 double crochet. There's 1, 2, chain 1, and then another double crochet and another double crochet. Whoops. 2, and then we're going to go skipping over to our next one. So this is a really nice pattern to work if you want, because once you get the first row or 2 down here, all you do is you just skip over to the chain 1 space, and it's so repetitive. I really don't think much about what I'm doing. The worst part is I got to think about making sure I do 2 double crochets. So if you want, before you turn your work and move on to the next row, it's a good idea just to glance back at your row and make sure that you've done your 2 double crochet stitches and not just done 1. And then we're going to end with right in this stitch here. Or you could work in this space. It's really easy also to work right in this space. If you don't want to dig into a stitch, work right in that space. Doesn't really matter. You're going to have a nice straight edge. So I'm going to do a double crochet in that turning chain of that first stitch there. Okay, or that's how it looks there, or you can work right, like I said, right in that space. Either way, it's going to look really nice as you continue on. So this is the end. I'll just leave it the way it is at the moment. And this is the end of row 2, and that is your repeating row. Isn't that pretty? I think what I'll do is for the next row here, I will change color. Let me go find a color. I'll meet you right back here and we'll change. Okay, I found a scrap of blue here, and this is also Karen Simply Soft, and I'm not sure of the blue color because it's just a scrap. It was sitting in a box, and so I'm going to turn this now, get my hook back in. So before I do those first chain 3 stitches, all I do is I insert my hook in both of them here. Here we go. So I got the blue loop on my hook, and then I'm going to do my chain stitches. I'm going to make this smaller, tighten this up, make this smaller. There's my 1, 2, 3. Then all I'm going to do is simply go over to my chain 1 space and keep working. Like I said, if I'm going to put a border on a blanket or something, this is perfect to carry the yarn up the side. In fact, I could probably do that. Why don't I do that for you? I will do 2 rows of this, and then I'll show how I would carry my yarn up the side. But it's as simple as just slipping that stitch right in that end there. And it's so nice to be able to quickly change colors. Now, if I was doing a few more rows in between, or having like 4, 5, 6 color changes, I probably would not carry it up the side, because then you have a really long string and you just have more of a chance for the yarn gapping, or I should say you'll have a long piece of yarn, and you'll have more of a chance of the yarn gapping. And that it's going to be more noticeable, I think, when you put on the border. So I normally The longest I think I go is about 1 inch, carrying the yarn up the side, inch or two. Beyond that, it's pretty long. I'd probably cut it and then see how fast that went? I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm not even explaining what I'm doing, but I just did this row, okay? Does that look nice? Okay, I'll do this back. But anyway, if I was doing a longer one, I would probably cut the yarn and then weave it in, because then, like I said, I have more of a chance of gapping. I'm just going to quick finish this. And then we'll bring our off-white back in again. And then you can see how easy and how pretty that is. And then all I would do is I would just keep switching yarn colors, carrying it up the side, and just having fun with my crochet project. I love projects where you can have fun, you can do it fast, you can talk, not think about it, spend time with your family, or, you know, gosh, watch your kids' sports games. I got to get a little bit more yarn here. You know, there's all kinds of activities that you can do, and this is one you can bring with you, and the results are so pretty. But it's such a simple stitch. You're doing this with chain stitches and double crochets. I mean, it just doesn't get much easier than this, and it goes fast. You get a lot of ground covered in a short amount of time with this stitch. And I think it's because also you're not digging to find a stitch. You're just working in the chain space. Now I got to find the hole. Oh, that's right. The last time I did it, I went just inside of the, we'll do that. We'll go in here for you. And I think this one here, I stuck it in the stitch. So now you got both ends. Okay, so this is where I had originally, this is my yarn, working yarn for the off-white. This is my yarn tail I got to weave in that I started with. Okay, so I'm going to turn it. Now I want to bring my off-white back in. So I'm going to bring it up. I got to make sure I don't have my blue tail. And I always like to bring it up, kind of lay it towards the back. And see, just kind of make it against your yarn side, but not snug. I don't like to pull snug because then you distort your crochet project. But I don't like it to have it really loose either. So it's just gently laying alongside of it. And don't worry about your beginning and ending loops. If they're not completely snug, because they'll loosen up a little bit as you go, it doesn't matter, because when it seems like when I put the border on, it all that gets all covered up anyway, and it looks really nice. So okay, so I have my white yarn brought through there, and now I just continue. Here's my chain 3, and then I'm going to continue with my stitches. Wasn't that simple? There's nothing to weave in. There's no extra work done, not hours of yarn, and then you worry about those yarn tails tucking out. It's worrisome. Every time I get a whole bunch of yarn tails and stuff, I just don't like it poking out on a blanket or whatever I've made. Now I'm going to stop. And this is how this looks right now. So this is the side. This is a working yarn for the blue. And I can come back here. Now, let's say that I've done a different number of yarns, and I'll show you. Never mind. I'm going to show you. I'm sitting here explaining it to you. I should show you. Just give me a moment here. Get more white. I'm going to finish this row. Let's just say I only wanted to do 1 row of each instead of 2. I didn't want to go 2 and go back to the other way. Okay? So I'm going to finish this row. This is probably best to explain. Okay, we're almost done. And one time I was in a hotel room with Casey, and I was trying to figure it out on a different blanket. I think it was on the fireside throw. And that was so pretty. And I wanted to figure it out, how to bring my yarn ends up, but change my yarn without having to weave in a million ends. So this is how it looks right now. Okay. So that's looking pretty nice, right? Now, if I want to change it every single row, and my daughter's like, you just got to crochet over to it. I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't even have a clue. Put your hook in right here. That's where, if you were going to end up, right, you'd end up over here. Or you could even stick it in here. I don't care where you stick it, here or in the stitch. Doesn't really matter. You pick a spot. So put your hook in, that top turning chain. bring your yarn up. And she goes, you have to crochet over to it. I'm like, what are you? It took me like an hour to understand what she was saying to me. She saw it and I didn't. So you see what I just did? You lay your yarn just like you did below. You lay it against there. You put your hook in the stitch and you just bring it through like you just joined it. And now you do your chain 3. Isn't this genius? Yeah, she's smart. I'm not. Then you go right to your space and you continue working. So if I wanted to change it, maybe one time I wanted to go 2 rows, maybe the next time maybe the next time I wanted to go 1 row. You can change up the look of your whatever you're making, you know, by how often you make your stripes of color. And I'm going to show you this. It's the coolest thing. And then you can do your white yarn the same way. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just makes it so convenient. But the thing is, I would strongly recommend putting a border on it, because without, well, then you can see your yarn carried up the side. But I'm telling you, and then when you do a border, start with a single crochet all the way around, and then do 3 single crochet in the corners, because that always helps it lay flat. And hang on, I have to keep getting more yarn because I didn't get enough. There we go. And then you can make your choice what you want to do over on this side here. Sorry, I'm going fast because I don't want to waste your time having you sit there watching me crochet. And then over here, I'll put my yarn through. I'm going to complete this row there. But now I have a choice. Do I want to leave my loop here, or do I want to, which one do I want to bring through, right? Because either way, I can bring it up and I can bring my loop on the white and work it back this way. Or, I mean, it's just, the possibilities are endless. And this is what it looks like right now. So it doesn't really look bad. I mean, but you can see my little loop here. It's just nicely and gently laying flat. Where I didn't bring the loops, it looks like a normal crochet. And over here on this side, this is how it looks over here. So I think that it's a beautiful stitch. This is the iris stitch. Iris, I can't even talk. I-R-I-S. I'll spell it. Iris stitch. And I just love how it looks. It looks pretty much the same on both sides. And I hope you give this stitch a try. And if you want to change colors, now you know how to change colors too and carry the yarn up the side. Thanks for watching. The pattern will be up on patternprincess.com, the free pattern. And of course, I usually try and have a copy of the stitch pattern downloadable on Ravelry or Etsy. So make sure you check out our Etsy shop and Ravelry shop too. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your crochet.